Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Another one-and-done season for North Carolina cost Hubert Davis his job. 10-seeded Virginia pulled off a massive upset in Iowa City, knocking out 2-seed Iowa in the round of 32. And the Lakers had their win streak snapped at 9 games, but something's different in LA. I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. During the tournament, FanDuel is offering $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. Another early exit have the Tar Heels singing the blues, not the Carolina blues, the we need a new coach blues. North Carolina has fired head coach Hubert Davis. Locked On Tar Heels host Isaac Shade reacts.
The line that stuck out to me most from this press release was this from Bubba Cunningham, and this was striking to me, and I think sums up my feeling on the whole matter. He said, quote, "We must move forward in a way that allows our team to compete more consistently at an elite level." And I think at the end of the day, that's what it is. Hubert Davis is a good man. He loves his players. He has led his program with ethics and high morals and in a way that honors people. But the problem is that the standard at North Carolina is higher than what Hubert Davis was able to achieve. And so while I'm a glass half full, a slow to move on type of person, I do think this is the right call for North Carolina. So I appreciate what Bubba has said there. Now, it doesn't officially use this word in the press release, but Matt Norlander from CBS Sports, and I've seen it from a few other national people as well, says that, quote, "The condition of Hubert Davis' split with UNC is a firing." So I will use that word. It's in the title of this episode. North Carolina has fired North Carolina. And I think that's important language because we talked about maybe Coach Davis retires or resigns. Maybe there's a mutual parting of ways. But ultimately, this is a firing. Do not make a mistake. Now, what I'm very grateful for is that Norlander goes on to say Coach Davis, will be paid in full. But this is a firing by definition, not a resignation. And that is an important distinction, right? And I'm very grateful to the program for honoring, not trying to shortchange Coach Davis and not pay him what they owe him. So I feel like they are doing that, right? We've seen other programs try to not do that, right? And so that's good. Coach Davis posted a statement tonight. It reads this way, quote, "Tonight I was let go by the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill." That's odd language. I don't know why the Chapel, that's like somebody wrote this for him. You know what I mean? Quote, "My desire was to continue to coach here. The opportunity has truly been such a blessing. I thank Jesus literally every day for giving me the opportunity, relationships, and experiences with the kids and my staff. I'm very proud of what we were able to accomplish together. My goal is to coach again in the very near future." End quote. Just a couple things from players that I saw. Caleb Wilson, quote, "Thank you for everything, Coach Davis, one of the best men and coaches in my life," end quote. Jackson Watkins, former walk-on, who's been on this show before, says on Twitter, quote, "Thank you for changing my life, Coach Davis," end quote, with a picture of him hugging Coach Davis coming off the floor. And that is where I just want to start here, as I always try to remind us to do, is this type of humanity of it, right? We'll get to my takes on it and the roster and where you turn next and all of that. But that falls behind the humanity of this moment, which starts with Coach Davis and his family. I've said it before this weekend. My kind of lasting image is Coach Davis and his wife, Leslie.
Stay up to date all year on the North Carolina Tar Heels by subscribing to Locked On Tar Heels on your favorite podcast app. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, Virginia women's basketball pulled off a shocking upset. Before we get to that, the Cubs locked in their superstar center fielder. The tournament is here. One of the best times of the year, of course. Brackets, buzzer beaters, upsets. It's nonstop action from tip to final cutdown. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers a way to stay in the action all tournament long. Here's the best part. You get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. That means 10 chances to stay involved throughout the entire tournament. You can mix it up however you want. Game picks, futures, or even same game parlays for bigger potential payouts. It's perfect for the tournament because every day there's something new, different matchups, new storylines, and more ways to get involved as the bracket unfolds. So visit FanDuel.com to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com to get in on the action. First PTA won his first Oscar. Now PCA is getting a long-term deal with the Cubs, extending Pete Crow Armstrong to a 6-year, $115 million deal.
Breaking news. According to Jeff Passan of ESPN, the Chicago Cubs have extended their superstar center fielder, Pete Crow Armstrong. Terms of the deal haven't been released yet, but this is huge news before opening day. Remember, this will be a pre-ARB extension, so it's not going to be some whopping $200+ million deal like sometimes you see with other guys. It'll be somewhere along the lines of the 7-8 years, maybe between 130-ish million. I don't want to guess, even though that's exactly what I'm doing. Maybe a tad more. We'll see. But this is about wrapping up Pete Crow Armstrong. You have him under team control until 2030. Now you're going to be able to extend that by another 3 years or so. So you're going to see this young man in center field for quite a long time for the Chicago Cubs. Matt and I will have the full details of this deal when we record on Tuesday for Wednesday's show. We'll react to it. Hopefully Nico Horner's next, but what a big splash the Cubs make with extending Pete Crow Armstrong. And now, your mind does wander. Will any of the other core guys that are up at the end of the year be extended in the next 30 days or so? But the big news is the Cubs' best player, their most important player, their most marketable player. Remember, that plays a role. Their most marketable player has been extended on one of these pre-ARB deals that is becoming very popular around Major League Baseball. Can't wait to find out the details and can't wait to watch Pete Crow Armstrong wear Cubby Blue for a long time. More on this deal to come.
Houston gets set to face Illinois for a trip to go to the Elite Eight.
Now, I will say, from a pure styles make fights kind of deal, Houston is probably one of 2 or 3 non-Big Ten teams best equipped to go through a region that is dominated by the Big Ten, right? They've got the size. I'd argue Arizona. I would have also thought Florida did, frankly, and they played to the buzzer with Iowa, so what do I know? But they've got the size, they've got toughness, physicality. It's a defensive-led basketball team. They're not going to be intimidated by some gigantic, and I keep using farm boys. I don't mean that pejoratively. I mean that more as like the generic kind of thing here. I understand a lot of these guys are from various cities that get recruited there.
The Magic look to end their 5-game losing streak against the Cavaliers.
This is Philip Rossman-Reich, the host of Locked On Magic, as the Orlando Magic dropped their 6th straight game, a 136-131 defeat to the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was once again another game where it just feels like the Magic were just short. Paolo Banchero had an incredible game, opened the game with 16, 17 points in the first quarter, set the tone for this team, gave them the lead. The offense was flowing, but we all know that those shots aren't going to keep falling, and the key for the Orlando Magic is their defense. To give up another 136 points, really not be able to defend for most of the game, having to play catch up against one of the best offensive teams in the league, that's not a formula for victory. You want to give the Magic credit for fighting, but that's what tanking teams say. That's what you say when you're at the bottom of the standings. And you can't give credit to a team just for fighting, because the Magic are bleeding right now. They're currently in a 3-way tie with the Miami Heat and Charlotte Hornets for 8th in the Eastern Conference. And right now, you got to pick the Hornets to win that race, forcing the Magic and Heat to play once again in a 9-10 elimination game. That's not ideal for the Orlando Magic. There is some good news, perhaps. Franz Wagner practiced with the Osceola Magic, their G League team, on Monday. It's starting to point toward the fact that he might be coming back. And the fact of the matter is the Magic just do not have enough bodies, do not have enough playoff level, NBA level bodies to compete against a team like Cleveland. But that's not an excuse. At the end of the day, Orlando has to execute better. They have to be about their defense, which was supposed to be their identity. It has not been this year. They have to be more and be better, and they just have to find a way to scratch out a win. I tell you that they'll do that Thursday against Sacramento Kings, but they lost to the Indiana Pacers on Monday night. So I don't know when it's going to come. It's going to be something that's earned. It's going to be something that's going to be hard. But the Magic have to find a way to get it because their season is already slipping away.
Virginia women's hoops began the tournament as a 10-seed play-in. Now, the Cavaliers are off to the Sweet 16 after a shocking upset of the 2-seed Iowa Hawkeyes. The Locked On Bracket Breakdown panel provide their thoughts on Virginia's journey.
Virginia erased a 9-point fourth quarter deficit to send this game to overtime. What changed for the Hoos in that final period?
Virginia is such a sneaky 10 seed. I like that they have depth in all positions. I think their length really helped them against Iowa. Coming off the bench, they have size, and so that helps. So going against a team like Iowa, this game was gritty.
Yes.
Extra possessions, hustle plays. That's what this game spoke to me. And let's note this double OT. I need my ladies at VA to get in the cold tub, get in the ice bath, drink your electrolytes, get your massages, take care of your body so you can keep that same energy going into the next round. We have to talk about Kimora Johnson. She's been electric as well. Adi, I'm interested. What have you liked about Kimora so far in the tournament?
Kimora's a pro.
Yeah.
Kimora has done a little bit of everything. The stars shine bright under the light, and she has came to play. But these are some things I found amazing. In the NCAA tournament, she's had back-to-back 28-point games.
Yes.
And remember, they played the play-in game, so she should be a little bit more tired. And she's played all but 2 minutes in the tournament. So that's impressive. So she has to be tired. And she does need to get in the ice pool.
Get in the ice tub, girl.
Yes, for sure.
And even further on Johnson, she drew so much attention. She had that matchup against Kylie Feuerbach. She played really strong defense against her, but anytime there was a paint touch, she was spraying it out and creating for her teammates. But those stoppages where they had to go to the replay center actually assisted Virginia because it gave them opportunities to just catch their breath in that double overtime.
I agree with Sophia a lot, too, because I knew once it got to the first overtime, that was going to be Virginia's game. Yes. Iowa had gotten in a bit of a rhythm, and that really kind of off-put them when they had to keep stopping the game so much. But as you mentioned, I mean, Kimora Johnson had to play 50 minutes, and you just mentioned, too, they already came off of an overtime game, and then they were playing in the 4 first games as well. So they've been playing a lot of basketball, but what stood out most about Kimora Johnson to me was honestly her vocal leadership.
Yeah.
She was always bringing her teammates together, and I think they were always willing to rally behind her, which gave them that extra push to finish out.
Yeah, I felt like she was very poised at the end, and I think that we saw that maybe in that last even 5 seconds of that game. And like you guys said, you just kind of got the sense that Virginia said, hey, you gave us an opportunity to get back in it, and we're going to take this game. Kimora Johnson ends that game. 50 minutes of play.
It's a lot of minutes.
It is, my goodness. And to think that she still scored 28 points, even was able to get 4 assists and 2 rebounds, just a remarkable game. But yeah, you're right. If it was me, Kimora, I'd be ice bathing it too, getting ready for my next game.
Stay up to date all year on women's basketball by subscribing to Locked On Women's Basketball on your favorite podcast app. Coming up, the Lakers had their 9-game win streak broken against the Pistons, but they are looking like a different team lately. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood Prediction Markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood Prediction Markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum swings, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trades involve significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. The Lakers fell to the Pistons the other night, 113-110, but before that had won 9 straight games. They're now in the 3 spot in the Western Conference. Andy Kamenetsky from Locked On Lakers joins me now. And Andy, we're seeing a different version of LeBron James. We're seeing a different version of Luka Doncic. And we're seeing a different version of this Lakers team than we saw to start the season. What is the biggest reason why?
I would say the biggest reasons, because I think they're pretty much hand in hand, is more clarity with roles and complete buy-in across the board. It's you mentioned a different version of Luka and a different version of LeBron. In a lot of ways, it's a different version of Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and LeBron.
Yeah.
And the way there is a spelled out by JJ Redick usage hierarchy among them, with Luka having the most direct control at the top of possessions, controlling the offense, then Austin, then LeBron. And for a while, a big reason that the three of them were not working well as a trio, despite obviously being very good players, was there was too much redundancy between the two of them, too little skill variance, and they just weren't really meshing together because it was just three different guys trying to do essentially the same thing. And I think by JJ really spelling out how this would break down between the three of them, and to his credit, LeBron's buy-in on this, I think there's been a big element of everybody else buying into their roles on top of it. And that's, I think, played itself on the defensive end as well. Just everybody understanding what their roles are. DeAndre Ayton recently spoke to The Athletic about how he realized he was not matching the energy level of this group and that he was the one lagging behind. And, I have to change. And it just feels like this combination of clarity with roles and buy-in has just led to an increased accountability. And I think they're actually enjoying themselves while winning.
Well, winning makes it easier to enjoy yourself playing basketball. That's for sure. It also, I think, has to be noted that once upon a time, Dwayne Wade did this in Miami for LeBron James and said, we need you to be the guy. I'm going to abdicate that responsibility. Whether he was a better player or not than LeBron James at the time is irrelevant. It was his team in his city. And so for LeBron, he's been through this on the other side. And now I think some of the jokes about like the LeBron James of Draymond Greens has been overblown, right? But still, he has accepted a different version of himself. And that has to matter culturally to this team.
Well, I think it becomes impossible for anybody else not to accept their asks when LeBron James accepts his. I mentioned, like with DeAndre Ayton, he said to Dan Wojcicki of The Athletic, I had to take a look in the mirror and say to myself, I'm not that dude, meaning the guy before that was expected to be a first option and get a high baseline of touches and all that stuff. Like, that's not my role. My role is to rebound, to screen, to run the floor hard, and they need him to score. But some games he won't. This is my role. And again, if everybody accepts what they're supposed to be doing, Luka, flip side of this, obviously has the most touches. He gets the most shots. He has the most control on the offense. But with everybody else accepting their roles, I think Luka feels an onus and accountability to crank up his defensive focus and intensity. And over like the last month or so, Luka's been pretty good on that end. Like I've always thought that his defensive reputation as just a poor defender, like across the board, was a bit overblown. But there's no question that he was not a strong defender. It was not his calling card. The last 3 to 4 weeks, he's actually been very good. And again, I think with everybody accepting their asks, Luka, as the leader of the team, I think recognizes he has to set that type of tone of accountability as well.
And part of it is a relationship to JJ Redick too. When LeBron James allows himself to be coached that way by JJ Redick, a player that, look, we all watched play. JJ Redick was not as good a player as LeBron James. But in a situation like this, he's the head coach. It doesn't matter. And so if LeBron is going to be coached hard by JJ in a situation like that, to your point, what is Rui Hachimura going to say to JJ Redick? Right. Like, this is the guy.
Yeah. I mean, look, everyone across the team seems to be buying into what they're supposed to do. Even someone like Jared Vanderbilt, who has been in and out of the rotation right now. If everybody's healthy, he's out. He's taken on this role of being essentially Luka's buffer between him and the refs. And if there's ever stoppages of play, Jared Vanderbilt will immediately be out there next to Luka if he's talking to a ref, kind of making sure that he's the firewall between Luka and a 16th tech. And he seems to be, again, like really leaning into this. And Vando has always been a really good teammate, but I know he's been frustrated by an inconsistent role. And I know he feels like he could have a consistent role on this team and that he can help, but he is leaning into being a part of this, like finding a way that he can fit in. And I think In a lot of ways, everyone's doing that.
Stay up to date all year on the LA Lakers by subscribing to Locked On Lakers on your favorite podcast app. And finally, Maryland's women's basketball head coach Brenda Freese got into a heated exchange with player Aluchi Okanwa during Maryland's round of 32 loss to North Carolina. While that moment may have looked confrontational, it turned out it was an excellent display of coaching a player the way they want to be coached.
I love Brenda's fire. Brenda's known for motivating her players. She's known for igniting that and extracting that. But I love that the player then said, I want to be coached, because great players love to be coached. And Brenda had to pull her around that moment, get her back and give her confidence. So that's a great moment. And remember, years ago, a woman couldn't do that. Yeah. If a woman did that, she'd be crazy. She'd be all over her player. But men could always do it. So I like the fact that's accepted. Yes. Brenda had a great moment. It was powerful. Yes. And it shows players, you need that sometimes. And that's okay. And I love how she accepted that.
It's a good opportunity for all of us to also understand that a moment we see 10 seconds of on our screens, on our TVs, may not be what it looks like. Those moments are deeply personal at times. The player-coach relationship is a deeply personal one, or can be, and we don't always have full context as to what is going on in those moments. You may still not like it, but the player, for her part, after the game said, I want to be coached that way. I want to be coached like that every single day. And coach knows that. So it seems like this was an interaction between two adults that understand the dynamic. We didn't. Coming up, we've reached the Sweet 16. Find out who will advance past the second weekend right here. So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.